Hello chess friends and welcome to Yozarov's chess channel and welcome to my Basics in Chess series. So in this series we see opening principles, middle game strategy and middle game planning, and of course the end game strategy. And yesterday I created a video about this distant pass pawn situation, and one of my subscribers under the name Makearunat asked me about this game that I've talked about in this video about my friend while playing against this grandmaster and how he lost his chances to win the tournament. And today I wanted to show you this game because it meets with this idea to create this distant pass pawn situation. So you see, this was a game played by Jurica Srbic. He is a strong FIDE master here from Croatia. He was playing against Momčil Nikolov, and Momčil Nikolov, a very strong grandmaster. And if Jurica would have won this game, he could have been even first in the tournament. But you see, this Momčil Nikolov played simply onto the strategical idea to going into an endgame. You believe it or not, his main idea was simply going into an endgame. You see, I already explained this in my previous videos in this middle game strategy, that going into an end game can be really a strategical idea in a middle game. So you're playing a middle game, but you really want to position to going into an end game. And I'll show you in this game how this grandmaster does it. He simply wants to trade some pieces and create this distant pass pawn situation, and of course win the game. So let's see now the game. Jurica Srbic here with the white pieces, and he played knight on f3, knight on f6, c4, c5, knight on c3, now d5, c takes d5, knight takes on d5, and now d4. So already a breakthrough in the center. So far so good. I like this style. It's an aggressive style. You have to play aggressively while playing against this top grandmasters, of course. E6, and now Jurica played e4. Now we have knight on c3, b takes c3, and now we have c takes d4, and we have of course c takes d4. And here is the problem now. When we talk about this middle game, you see, let's see now this pawn structure. When you have this pawn structure now in the middle game, well, white has the advantage because we have the central control. Of course, you see there are still pieces on the board, so we talk about the middle game. Okay, we are in an opening, but this game, of course, after a couple of moves, will transpose into a middle game. And while talking about the middle game, you see white has the advantage of the central pawns. But if this position happens in an end game, this pawn structure, well, black is on the advantage because he can create here with this 2-on-1 situation a distant pass pawn, maybe on the B or A file. So that's the problem about such positions. That's what I wanted to explain in my yesterday's video. You see, and that's what Momčil Nikolov simply does here with this pawn structure here. He simply goes for the endgame. He wants to go fast into an endgame, and let's see how he does it. He plays first to move bishop on b4, bishop on d7. So okay, he simply trade off the bishop. So now he's a piece down, and of course white is a piece down. So he achieved what he wanted. He wants to trade even more pieces, and if the position gets like this, that we only have maybe the kings on the board with this pawn structure, of course black is on the advantage, as I said, because he can create a distant pass pawn on the A or B file, of course, but now we're in the middle game, and white has the advantage because in this middle game strategy, of course, you see, you want to have a very nice central control with your pawns, and Jurica didn't play anything wrong here so far. You see, he played this normal line of this semi-Tarrasch defense here. Now we have castling, bishop on e2, and now b6, castling, bishop on b7. I'm not gonna explain all of these possible tactical ideas. Maybe you see, I would just want you to realize that black simply goes for the endgame here. His main strategical idea is going to an endgame, and nothing special, nothing fancy. He wants to create, as I said, this simplification, this endgame situation with this pass pawn. So here, queen on e3 by Jurica, knight on d7, bishop on d3. We have here rook on c8, rook on c1, queen on e7. Now a trade of rooks, rook on c1, and now queen on a3. Rook takes on c8, bishop takes on c8, and now queen on d2. Okay, now we're still in the middle game, you see, but now you see black has a more active queen. And let's see now the continuation. Again, you see black is simply going into an endgame. Bishop on a6 was played, so he doesn't mind here to trade even more pieces, because he wants to, as I said, he wants to do the simplification and create this pass pawn situation. So bishop on a6, bishop takes on a6, queen takes on a6, d5, and now queen on c4, d takes e6, queen takes e6. And look at this position now. Who is now better in this position? I think black, because now he can really start to push these pawns and really keep busy maybe the queen and this knight in order to prevent black from promotion here. So here h3 was played, h6, a3, here queen on c6, we have here e5, a5, h4, knight on f8, queen on e3, b5. And you see Momchelnikov simply plays forward with his pawns. He wants to create this distant pass pawn situation, knight on d4, queen on c4, knight on f5, b4. Again, you see now the white's problems. Black is really threatening here with the promotion. So a takes b4, a takes b4, queen on g3. We have here queen on c1 with the check, king on h2, and now knight on e6, defending here this g7, knight on e7. As I said, I'm not going to explain all of these possible moves. I really don't want to explain this game like this. I really wanted to explain this only from this strategical idea of Plex that going from a middle game, he strives to go into this endgame. So now king on f8, knight on d5. Now we have queen on c4, knight on e3, queen on e4, knight on d1, king on g8, f3, queen on e2, knight on f2, and you see now we have b3. Again, you see we have this distant pass pawn situation, because if an endgame, it's really an advantage for black here. So now knight on e4, b2, knight on c3, queen on c2, and now after queen on e1, Jurica resigned, because you have the possibilities to take here the knight, and if the queen takes, you can promote here to queen. So you see, that was the problem. This 2-on-1 situation on the queen side to create this distant pass pawn situation. You see, again, I'm pointing you out when we are in the middle game. Here you see white has the advantage because we have a better central control with our pawns. But while talking about an endgame, you see black has the advantage. Let's put some maybe kings here on the board, and you see when we evaluate this position here, this will be really a really nice endgame here for black, because he can create maybe here this distant pass pawn situations. So I hope you realize this idea. Thanks again for my subscriber Makearunat for asking this question. If you have questions, of course, by yourself, be free to ask. Of course, I will try to answer them as much as I can. And I really hope you realize this distant pass pawn situation, how paradoxical it is from a middle game's perspective. It's not good to have this distant pass pawn situation. From an end game's perspective, it is really good to have this distant pass pawn situation. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Meanwhile, of course, you can watch my previous video that's really combined with this video, important to watch, of course. And of course, you can also watch my other middle game, end games, and opening principles from my Basics in Chess series. And of course, guys, you can also subscribe to my channel. Thanks you for watching, and chess is the best, of course.